Game of Thrones, invented in 1991 by George R.R. Martin, or GERM for short. GERM was a fan of high fantasy who felt that the stories he loved didn't produce enough existential despair in its readers or death in its characters. Game of Thrones is a story of politics, religion, love, loss, and family. But mostly loss. Every single character is the protagonist of their own little Shakespearean tragedy. And trust me, there's one thing you don't want to be in the genre of tragedy, and that's the protagonist. You want to be a tertiary character at most, someone who bears witness to the tragedy. Maybe you lose a third cousin twice removed, or your friend's uncle's dog dies. A little sad, but manageable. Like Yorick in Hamlet. He's just a skull in that play. He doesn't give a fuck that Hamlet's dad is dead. The worst thing he goes through is getting monologued at for a bit. Game of Thrones centers around a high-stakes game of musical chairs, except there's only one chair and no music, only death. Once the person connected to the ass currently warming the chair dies, a mad scramble ensues for the pointy pedestal. In this video, I won't be giving you a synopsis of the story thus far. You could just read the Wikipedia page for each season for that. No, today we're taking a look at the characters of Game of Thrones and see what we can learn from them to improve our own lives. Like all tragedy protagonists, each Game of Thrones character has a fatal flaw that holds them back throughout the story and often results in their downfall. People make mistakes, they make bad choices, they do evil things. It's just an accepted part of our tortuous existence. But maybe we can make our own existence a little less unbearable if we look at the mistakes and faults of others and do what we can to prevent such tragedies from befalling ourselves. Some lessons are very obvious, like Lesson 1. Pedophilia is bad. It's frowned upon in most communities. Of course, right? Others, however, are a little less on the nose, such as Lesson 2, Don't Travel South. What happened when Ned Stark went south? Decapitation. What happened when Robb Stark went south? Decapitation and a forcible inclusion into the furry community. As we've seen from Jon Snow's life, things only get better the further north you go. Jon Snow grew up with a fake mom who hated him, but when he went north to the Wall, there weren't any women around to hate him. Upgrade. When he went even further north, he found a woman to fall in love with and lose his virginity to. Another upgrade. And then he started going back south, and would you look at that, his life starts falling apart. The woman he loves tries to kill him, and then she dies, and then Jon dies, but his torture isn't over yet. No, he already tried to escape the south once by traveling north. You think it's gonna let him just get away that easily again? He travels even further south, and then his little brother dies, and then he continues south and gets held hostage on Dragon Island for what feels like months. Then he comes to his senses and goes back north for a hunting trip with the Buys. Good times all around. Then he goes back south and things are just awkward for everyone. I know I said I wasn't going to give you a plot synopsis, but that was basically it, huh? Lesson 3. Have multiple kids. That way if you lose any, you still have some backups. Look at Davos Seaworth. Only one child. He got blown up on a boat and now Davos is childless. Look at Stannis Baratheon. Only one child. Burned her alive because God promised to bless him if he did. The blessing wasn't strong enough, and now you don't have another child to kill in order to double down on the blessing. Now look at the Starks. They had 6 kids, and yeah, sure, 2 of them are dead, ooh, boo-hoo, big tragedy, but 4 of them are still out and about, and they're doing pretty well for themselves. Now you gotta be careful with this lesson. Look at Roose Bolton. Only had 1 kid and things were going alright. Then he knocked up some other chick and has 2 kids. This should be a better situation, right? Wrong. This sucks in this particular situation because the first kid is a nutcase and murders everyone involved with the second child's conception. Okay, fine, so this is the exception that makes the rule. But even if your kids don't kill you or each other, it's still not a guarantee. Cersei had 3 kids and they all fell one by one. So what I'm saying is have somewhere between 4 and 40 children just to be safe. Lesson 4. Know your place. For this lesson, we look at the story of Peter Baelish. Peter is a secondary character who so badly wants to be the protagonist. In pursuit of this goal, he sets the whole show in motion by being the driving force behind like 7 different character motivations, all with the goal of killing everyone above him in ranking of character importance. Peter makes it nearly a whole 7 seasons before some characters above him finally take notice of him trying to disrupt the foundational hierarchy of the show and eliminate him. Don't be like Peter, kids. Know your role. Lesson 5. Being omnipresent sucks ass. Almost everyone has dreams of power. They desire the fame and wealth and influence that usually comes with it. But what happens when you become too powerful? What happens when you become so powerful that the fabric of reality can no longer contain you? Well, you become Bran Stark is what happens. Bran Stark is able to perceive everything everywhere throughout all time, forever. He's the Game of Thrones universe equivalent to Dr. Manhattan or Lil B. You might be thinking, wow, it sure would be cool to know everything there ever was, is, or will be. You could look into the future of the stock market. You could predict catastrophic world events with perfect accuracy. You could find out what kind of porn Stalin read. And yeah, sure, it's all very valuable information, but think on this. Bran Stark has to. He cannot choose not to. He has to perceive in full detail every single time his parents fucked. And they did it a minimum of 5 times. and he has perceived all those encounters all at once in the splash zone on a loop forever. Doesn't sound so pleasant anymore, does it? Don't fall in love with someone you're not supposed to. Whether you're betrothed to someone else or you're considering laying with a redhead, just don't. She'll end up dead, you'll end up dead, your mom will end up dead, everyone within a 50 meter radius of you will end up dead. All these people, dead, because you decided to put your penis where it wasn't supposed to go. Lesson 7. Listen to your mom. You know the old saying, mother knows best. And sure, maybe she doesn't know the laws of thermodynamics, and maybe she doesn't know what the mitochondria does, but she still knows best, so you should listen to her advice, especially if she's a maniac and will literally murder your wife if you don't listen to her. Lesson 8. Kill your dad in order to become a man. We've covered this a little bit in the past. It was the main theme throughout the Star Wars story, and is a common theme throughout many forms of media. In order to fully become a man, a son must best his father. Maybe killing him is a little over the top, but it's one of the most clear-cut ways to show that you are better than him. Lesson 9. Don't antagonize someone who's pointing a crossbow at you. Just don't. Lesson 10. God is wrong sometimes. What should we do, Lord?
Destroy the child.
I bet. Hey, Lord, what the fuck?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
Lesson 11. Women don't like being lied to. This may come as a shock to you, but apparently women actually value honesty. I tell you fellas, I learn something new about women every 2 or 3 months. One of these days, I'm gonna understand enough to actually hold a conversation with one. Lesson 12. Lie. Lying is a fantastic life skill. It's one normally developed at a young age by playing board games with your family. That's how you win in life. Lie your way to the top, fuck over everyone in your path. Hell, fuck over people who aren't even in your path too. Fuck them. They're not you, why do you care? Lesson 13. People of all backgrounds can work together in harmony. All they need is a threat large enough to destroy them all. It'll usually result in them putting aside their small differences for at least a little while. If things don't go well and your friends stab you in the heart for your suggestion of cooperation, you just come back to life, problem solved. Lesson 14. Sometimes your superiors are dumb, and you gotta betray their trust for the greater good. Maybe you'll end up saving a man's life, maybe you'll end up locked in a vault to die. It's a gamble, but it's worth it. Lesson 15. If you're gonna kill someone, do it yourself. It's hard to find good help these days. Freelancers just aren't what they used to be. Back in the day, you could wake up bright and early, call up your local hitman, give them a name, location, and poor description of the target's appearance, and they'll be a corpse by dusk. Nowadays, if you want someone dead, you're gonna have to get your hands dirty. Otherwise, you'll end up with some first dayer like this asshole. This guy's not even capable of murdering a comatose 10-year-old. Lesson 16. Alright, this one isn't a piece of life advice, it's just a critique of how the government operates in Game of Thrones. This is now a political commentary channel. Get over it. I'm rebranding myself. Believer. Is that a word? When Robert loses his 1v1 with a boar, shouldn't standard rules of crown transfer result in the boar now being king? Why instead does it kick off the never-ending fiesta of musical chairs that is this show? The most common argument I've heard is that the crown should pass by blood. The fucking boar is covered in Robert's blood. What do you mean? Lesson 17. Blood magic is not real. It's like astrology or the clitoris. These things don't exist. Don't fall for this trickery. None of these so-called blood mages have actually done anything magical. This one murdered a newborn baby and lobotomized an earlier born man, and it took her an entire night to do it. I could accomplish the same thing with an ice pick in 20 minutes. This one predicted that 3 men at some point in the future will die. Modern Nostradamus. Truly, this is knowledge beyond that which mere men can obtain. This one again sacrificed a child to guarantee military victory. No. And for her third and final chance, she brought Jon Snow back to life. But Jon Snow is the chosen one of this story. She didn't do anything. He has plot armor. For now, until it's ripped away and replaced with a decapitation. Overlord Gurm giveth, Overlord Gurm taketh away. Lesson 18. Trading your sister for an army and some Dragon Balls is a good deal. Most women don't even fetch a handful of untrained militants on the open market, let alone an entire army. However, if you do make this trade, please don't press Aquaman or whoever you traded with to hold up his end of the deal. You'll get your army, just have some patience. If you make a big scene about it before the birth of his Aqua son, things may not work out. If you're losing an argument, demand a fight instead. How often have you been in this position? You're arguing with your friend that the earth is flat and he presents you a globe. And you're like, shit, all this new information, I might have to rethink everything I've ever known in life. Fuck that. It's just a fist fight instead. Winner is right about the shape of the globe. Earth, shit. Lesson 20. Sometimes dead is better. Pet Cemetery, in theaters now. I think, I'm not really sure.
Are you sponsored by Paramount or something, my guy?
No, I'm sponsored by Stephen King himself. He came up to me one day and was like, hey, it's me, Stephen King. I really enjoy your shit posting, my dude. And
Is that what Stephen King sounds like?
No, of course not. He can't actually speak.
What?
He's mute. All authors are mute. Why would they write things down if they could just say them out loud? Use your fucking brain, dude. Read a book. That's the only way they can communicate with you, you disrespectful asshole.
You're losing it right now.
I never had it. Lesson 21. Losing your penis isn't the end of the world. Listen, I get it. As a man, you have a very deep, personal, emotional attachment to your phallus. Also a physical attachment, but that's secondary really. Should you misplace it, or have it removed without your consent, or Lil B forbid against your consent, don't panic, it isn't the end of the world. Sure, you can't have sex anymore, but you weren't doing that anyway. And yeah, you can't masturbate anymore, but think of all the things you can do now with all this extra time. You could master an art form, learn Muay Thai, climb a mountain, climb the mountain, work on your social skills so you can finally ask out that girl you... never mind. Look at all the people in Game of Thrones who have had their trusty Cave Johnson removed. They're still around. Each of them is a major contributing member to the good guys team. Varys is a top-tier political strategist and information gatherer. Grey Worm and all his deep-penised friends are elite warriors. And Theon, you know, he's around. Just because you lose your penis doesn't mean you lose your worth. Lesson 22. Find your calling. It's just like those old commercials said. Nobody's good at everything, but everybody's good at something. Whether it's being a doorman, skateboarding, cleaning shit pots, cutting people in half, alcoholism, cutting people in half, making dragon noises. Okay, actually, no, don't do that one. Find something you like, and then do the fucking shit out of it. Lesson 23. Don't kiss your... mother-in-law? Who is this woman? Don't kiss anyone, actually. No physical contact before marriage, you fucking degenerates. Lesson 24. Being a ruler sucks. You have to listen to people's problems all day and pretend like you care. People throw shit at you if they don't like you. People fucking murder you if they don't like you. You have to financially compensate people when your pets kill their children. It's just a big headache. Lesson 25. Choose good names for your pets. Choose something good with some meaning, like Ghost or Nymeria or Reek. Don't just pick a name because you like it, like Lady or some shit. And keep in mind, the name of your pet will determine a lot about how it acts in the world. Danny named one of her pet dragons after her dumbass older brother, and guess what? It fucking betrayed her and joined the army of the dead. This would not have happened if you just named it Andy or something. Lesson 26.
Size does not matter when you are flat on your back.
You heard it here first, fellas. Get on your back, tell her to hit that reverse mating press, and your 3-inch nightcrawler will work wonders from down under. Lesson 27. You are expendable. No matter what, no matter how important you think you are, you could be written out or killed off suddenly, and things would just keep on moving on without you. Whether you're the main character or soldier number 6 over here, there's still many other stories that need to be wrapped up, with or without you. And now, we've reached the final life lesson to be found within Game of Thrones. Well, not final, I'm sure there's more, but I'm on the 9th page of my script here and I really want to wrap this up. Lesson 28. Incest makes you immortal. Despite being expendable, there are ways to delay your inevitable expiration. As we know, Game of Thrones is a show about death, and no one is safe. But there's one trait shared amongst many of the most important characters who are still alive. A good handful of them have clapped the cheeks of, or had their cheeks clapped by, a blood relative, whether it's brother and sister, aunt and nephew, or brother and sister again. Now sure, yeah, any one of these people could still, and likely will, die. But that's just speculation at this point. What we can say for sure is that they've managed to survive 7 seasons of one of the deadliest shows out there, so they must have some secret technique, right? Well, I guess it's not really secret, it's been caught on film each time it happened. You know what I mean. And that's all I have for you. I hope you find a way to apply these 28 lessons in your daily life. Don't worry about implementing them all in at once. Work them in slowly at a comfortable pace. Before you know it, you'll be moving to Norway, having sex with your dad, and then killing him. And now a word from some of my patrons. If you're not white, don't say Daenerys Targaryen, Joffrey Baratheon, Sandor Clegane, Fawcett, Manuel, Amy Lee. The best is blessed, Max Holloway, Pride of the Iron Islands. Hey mom, hey dad, I'm a bisexual trap. You'll never see this video, but I'd like you to know that I dress up as a female occasionally and lewd myself out for the bis. You won't understand. This is very strange for you guys, I'm sure, but I love y'all. I hope you can see me the same way. I'm using the medium of a half-black stick figure on the internet to tell you this, as I am a coward. Anyway, I'm off to listen to Gorillas. Thank you, based god! Damn, this show's still going? Isn't everyone dead yet? Can't wait for Lil B to incinerate all these White Walkers with his fire lyrics. These nibbas is toast. All of these fucking virgins out here watching Game of Thrones, while us chads are watching JoJo's, both the manliest and gayest show on earth.